Hey church, this coming Sunday, May 31st, we are moving back indoors and resuming worship gatherings. I was going to say resuming normal worship gatherings, but they're not going to feel super normal because we have some totally different protocols we're going to follow. And so in this brief video, I want to talk you through some of those. You'll also receive a link with this video to a simple one-page document that explains some of the things you're going to want to think about before Sunday so that you show up knowing how it's going to feel different and what it's going to look like for us to worship. Most importantly, along with this video, you will receive a survey, and we need you to fill that out. Here's why that's important. Because we will have two services, one at 9 and one at 11. And because we have to limit the occupancy in the room for each of those services, we just want to get a sense of how many of you are going to come to 9 o'clock and how many of you are going to come to 11 o'clock so we can see, does it break evenly or unevenly? It would help us to know that before Sunday so that we can perhaps make some adaptations or ask some of you, hey, would you come instead at this other time? We want to make it possible for as many people as possible to gather for worship, and it's going to be helpful for us to have some information in advance. So please make sure you do that survey. And now take a little walk with me and let's talk through Sunday. So here we are in the sanctuary. The biggest change you're going to notice when you show up on Sunday is there's going to be someone standing at the door counting the number of people entering this space. When we get 200 people in this space, then the doors close. All right, so 200 is the max occupancy here in the sanctuary. That's to ensure a 6-foot space for every single person here. And in the document you receive with this video, you'll see how we're going to try to seat the room. So we'll also have some people ushering you using every other row and trying to create space between each family unit or household. And so you'll have to spread out throughout the room. Listen, it's going to take us a few weeks to kind of get used to this. So for this first week or two, just please follow the instructions of the ushers. And please understand that when this room gets full, it's full. And so this is why we want you to let us know which service you're going to come to. Because if you come at 9 and you're the 201st person, guess what you're doing? You're getting back in your car and coming back at 11. And we don't want to make you do that. We want to try to have as much knowledge in advance as possible so we can try to plan appropriately. All right, so 200 of you will be able to gather here in the sanctuary. It will feel a little emptier than usual, but I think we'll still have a fun sense of life in this room and joy together. And not only can 200 of you gather here, but another 100 of you will gather downstairs in the fellowship hall. Let's go there now. All right, another 100 of you will be able to gather here in the fellowship hall. And as you see, what our plan is to live stream the service on the screen up there on the stage and let you gather here as you see the rooms yet to be set up. There will be some round tables around the perimeter of this room. And so if you're a family and you have kids and you want to be in a space where it might be a little less distracting, if your kids want to color or if they want to, walk around, this might be the place we ask you to be. It'll be a little less distracting here than in the sanctuary. And so we'll ask you to come here and then you'll exit actually out the doors into the patio out here and up into the parking lot. And so the entry and exit will be separate. And so in that way, if we have 200 people upstairs and 100 people here in the fellowship hall, that allows us to do 300 per service, so 600 total. And we anticipate that should do for the months of May and June to gather our church family together. And again, many of you, we realize, will choose to stay home and join us by live stream instead. And that's great, especially those of you who are particularly medically vulnerable. We want to encourage you to do that. And so we've worked out the live stream. Well, I say we worked it out. We are working it out. There might be a few kinks the first few weeks as we get used to doing it, but I promise you by the middle of June, it will be seamless and amazing. So whether you join us in person on Sunday or choose to live stream on your computer, we'll be glad to gather with you for worship. Now, before we end the video, let's talk additionally about communion, which is something we haven't practiced together for 3 months. And obviously you're probably wondering, am I dipping my bread in the same cup as a bunch of other people? No. So let me show you what you are doing. So here's the way of the future for communion. These little individual communion cups, which will be filled with wine or juice. You'll come forward, a server will hand you bread, and then you'll take one of these and partake of it. In that way, we ensure that every person has their own communion cup. Also, just to be extra safe, the servers are not going to speak to you. Usually we have the servers speak a word of blessing, like the body of Christ given for you. But because you'll be in fairly close proximity at that point, for now, we're not going to have the server speak. We're just going to hand you that bread and proceed silently through communion. And so in that way, we hope that it will make it very, very safe and also give you peace of mind that we can still enjoy the Lord's table together in a different way than we usually do, but in a way that still participates together in the worship of the Lord. So that's how we'll do communion today and going forward. And again, whether you're here in the sanctuary or downstairs in the fellowship hall, it'll be the same. Again, I imagine it'll take us a week or two to get used to sort of how that changes things, but we're looking forward to learning a lot together this Sunday. All right, here's the last change and probably the hardest one for the people of Quorum Deo. Here I am in the atrium where usually there's a lot of talk and community happening before and after services. You're going to have to take all of that outside. So we're going to ask you to exit quickly after the service. We're going to block off the circle drive in front of the building. If you want to talk with people, chat with people, you're free to do that outside as long as you honor social distancing. We're going to ask you not to do that here in the atrium, all right? So I know it's going to be hard for you because this is a space where we just usually have conversation, but by doing that outdoors, we're a lot safer, we allow a lot better traffic flow, and we vacate the space in between services for cleaning. It just makes everything simpler, easier, and better. And as you know, we're trying to follow all the safety protocols that have been handed to us by the County Health Department and the Department of Health and Human Services. And so it's important that we follow all those guidelines carefully. All right. So you're free to talk with folks outside after the service. Please embrace that change, even though it will be different for us. All right. I look forward to this. We're going to figure it out together on Sunday and in the Sundays to come. And again, if you choose not to join us in person and you watch on the live stream, I'm looking forward to sort of being able to gather our whole church family live together again, which we haven't done for quite some time. And so I'll see you on Sunday. I'll see you on Thursday for another little briefing, but I'll see you on Sunday as we continue our sermon series in the parables of Jesus, and as we make this step back toward gathering together for worship. See you then.